I lost 55 pounds and I'm going to be sharing with you 8 habits that helped me lose the weight and keep it off for over 8 years, even with a busy work and home life, 2 young kids, and I was never the sporty or athletic type before I started this journey. Just to be clear, I did struggle for years. I tried all the diets, all the quick fixes. I thought my metabolism was broken. These habits really work. And the more of these 8 habits that you stack into your lifestyle, the easier it's going to be for you to not only lose the weight, but maintain that loss as well. Now, before we begin, we have to get clear on the most important thing that you need to know about weight loss, full stop. And that is that you must, if you want to lose fat, be in what's called a calorie deficit, which means you eat fewer calories than you burn. All the diets you've tried up to this point are just complicated formulas to achieve this difference in the energy you consume versus the energy you use up. And everything that these habits are trying to do is just to simply lower your overall calorie consumption consistently in a way that feels easy. Okay, so let's start with the very first habit is to eat 2 portions of vegetables at every meal. And I'm talking every meal, and yes, that does mean breakfast. So instead of just having eggs on toast, maybe you're making scrambled eggs, you're gonna mix through some spinach, have some grilled tomatoes on the side. I personally love having fish for breakfast, so I always have a bagel with mackerel and spinach and tomato, and it is. And whilst we're talking about vegetables, let's talk about what a portion is, because people really aren't giving themselves enough vegetables. You might be eating vegetables at each meal, and you might think, oh, I've got a portion of broccoli. This portion is not helping you. This is a portion, the size of your fist. So this is how much you want to have in your hand when you're choosing your portion of vegetable, not 2 little sad florets of broccoli. Obviously, same rules apply, doesn't have to be broccoli. In fact, with the calorie density being so low with vegetables, around 100 calories per pound, this whole bowl is only 100 calories, you really want to be helping yourself to a nice big portion. And if you intentionally plan how much food on your plate is coming from vegetables, you're going to get a huge meal. You're going to fill your stomach. Thanks to the fiber that they contain, you're going to have a really nice slow release of energy, so you're going to be full for a long time. You're not going to be constantly thinking about your next snack. You're going to be more nourished. You're going to get all these extra vitamins, so you're generally just going to feel better and have more energy. And all of this is going to create positive momentum. You're feeling better, your meals look better, you're feeling proud of this positive action that you're taking, and then that rubs off onto the other choices that you're going to make throughout the day. So in case you hadn't noticed, I'm a big fan of vegetables.
Oh, wow. I wish you did that to me.
The easiest way to have your vegetables every day is to prep them. So you can just grab them and put them with something. I swear by baby peppers, baby cucumbers. I haven't got baby cucumbers, so. Cherry tomatoes, pre-chopped vegetables in the fridge, and you can just grab and go. I also always have pre-cooked vegetables in containers, broccoli, green beans, sweet corn in the fridge that I can take out and add to any meal. I really think I need to learn to juggle. The key is whenever you cook a portion for one meal, you make an extra portion for the fridge, and then it doesn't ever feel like you're prepping. Okay, the next little hack is to bulk stuff out with hidden vegetables, and this is a double bonus if you've got fussy kids. So if you're making any pasta sauce, for example, you can grate some carrot in there, you can blend some mushroom in there. It's all just gonna disappear, but you have so much more volume on your plate for hardly any calories. Second habit, cut your cooking oil. So ideally, cut it out if you really wanna maximize reducing your calories. But you could also just cut it down to 1 teaspoon per meal, because if you're not measuring it at the moment, you're probably using 1 to 2 tablespoons per meal. That means you're probably adding 200 calories plus just in oil. Now the thing is, you don't even get to taste those calories. You don't get anything satisfying out of them, and cutting this down is a really easy way to quickly create more of a deficit. In fact, cutting down to just 1 teaspoon per meal from 2 tablespoons could help you lose a couple of pounds a month without changing anything else at all. And if you have decent pans, you don't even need oil anyway. So invest in some good non-stick pans, or you can even use stock or water to saute and just stop that sticking. By the way, I am not saying cut out fats. In fact, I probably eat more fats now than I ever have, but I make smarter choices, because oil is like stealth fat. It's in there. is adding calories, but you just don't really get much satisfaction from it. So I eat more avocados, cheese, nuts, oily fish, and fattier cuts of meat like chicken thighs, which means I get the satiety, plus I get the hormone health and the brain health benefits of having fats in my diet, but I actually get to enjoy them and taste them. Oh, and the other cooking method that I really need to mention is my air fryer. The name is so misleading, and I put it off getting one for ages because I was like, ooh, fryer. There's no frying. It's just a very efficient convection oven, which means you hardly have to use any oil, so jump on the bandwagon with me. All right, habit number 3 is to create a simple prep system. Now, for any of you out there who love watching those beautiful meal prep things on YouTube or Instagram, and there's this beautiful bowl with all these rainbow colors, you've probably looked at it and thought, I'd love to do that, but I don't want to spend half my Sunday in the kitchen. Well, same. Been there, done that, and it's not for me. So what works instead is to make things so easy you don't have to think about it, and it just kind of slots into your weekly rhythm and it doesn't take up half of your Sunday. So that means you don't need to prep whole meals, just prep the components. You can make up some roasted vegetables, some baked potatoes, some kind of protein that you can eat cold or reheat like a chicken. You've literally got to just turn the oven on, pop your stuff in and come back in 45 minutes, done. And then maybe if you're feeling extra, cook up a big ragu that you can turn into different things, or a chili, and you can make that into various recipes through the week. It can honestly be that simple. My other golden rule, whenever you cook, never, ever, 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 ever cook for one meal. Always make leftovers. And it means I have a whole freezer full of ready meals I've actually made myself. 4th habit, minimize your processed foods. Now, please, please don't cut out carbs. There's no need. Just choose them carefully and choose the less processed ones. So let's compare the calories in pasta versus potatoes, for example. So 200 calories per cup versus 130 calories per cup. You're gonna save about 35% of the calories without cutting any carbs. But it's not just about the calories, because also with unprocessed food, your body has to work a lot harder to break this down. You're gonna get less net calories, you're gonna get a slower release of energy that keeps you fuller for longer because there's a whole ton of fiber in here. And this is the really great thing about potatoes in particular, is there's this thing called the satiety index, which measures how full different foods keep you. And believe it or not, boiled potatoes actually beat every other food on the planet. And I'm not saying you have to eat them at every meal, but it's why they're actually a great choice when it comes to carbs. They can fill you up for so few calories, it actually kind of feels like cheating. It doesn't just have to be potatoes. Obviously, there are things like legumes, chickpeas and beans and lentils. The bonus with them is they've got a nice little hit of protein in there as well. Here, it's probably a good time for me to mention the 80-20 rule, because if you haven't heard of it before, it basically means to get 80% of your diet from minimally processed foods, and here's why. Number 1, they are higher in volume, you get to eat more physical food. Number 2, they take more energy to digest. Number 3, they keep you fuller for longer, like those potatoes. And number 4, they are packed with extra nutrients. So just overall, your health, your energy levels are better. I'm not saying don't have any processed foods, but if you don't want to feel like you're on a diet, then plan your 20% of processed foods to be stuff that you're really going to get the enjoyment out of. Have your chocolate, have your cake, but know that those are what they are. These are foods that you are choosing purely for enjoyment purposes, not nutritional purposes, and that's okay, because the other choices you make around food are going to be your 80%, which are there to nourish you. 5th habit, eat protein for breakfast. Most people eat the same thing every day, more or less. So you just need to figure out one breakfast that works for you and eat that every day. You really don't need to reinvent the wheel or have 3 different breakfasts on rotation, because let's face it, if you currently eat toast and jam every day or cereal every day, whatever it might be, you probably don't overanalyze the lack of variety in your breakfast. So let's keep it simple. It is fine to eat eggs on toast every day if that works for you. But do yourself a favor and please make sure that you are getting 25 to 30 grams of protein. 1 egg on 1 slice of toast is not going to cut it. And that means that probably your breakfast is going to be bigger than what you're used to. And here's why that's okay and this is going to work. You're not going to then need a snack at 10 a.m. Getting more strategic with your breakfast plays out across the day in terms of calories, but here's the other bonus. You're also not constantly going to be riding a blood sugar roller coaster and thinking about your next snack. So this is another one of those ways to make your calorie deficit feel easier. Sixth habit, stop drinking your calories. So apparently the average Brit drinks an average of 2.2 cups of tea a day, which with milk and sugar is 120 calories a day. And the average American drinks 3 cups of coffee, both with milk and sugar, and that is around 120 to 180 calories a day. And that's before we even get into these fancier drinks like caramel lattes, which can be 300 calories a pop. If you make this simple swap, you can have this much extra food. Now, I'm not saying no tea, no coffee, but let's try taking it black with no sugar, or maybe a little bit of slim milk. And it's a really easy way to feel like you're not on a diet, you're not eating less food, but it is going to really help you lose weight. Now, sodas, smoothies, juices, alcohol, all really fall into the same category. They're gonna rack up the calories without giving you that much nutritional benefit or keeping you full. So personally, all I drink is water, herbal tea, black coffee, and sparkling water, unless it's a special occasion, and then that's part of my 20%, and that glass of wine is definitely happening. Seventh habit is to build movement into your day. So I'm not talking about food anymore, I'm talking about the move more part of that equation that we covered at the beginning. Now, the reason that I've lost weight and I've maintained it is because, yes, I've got a step goal, but I've been very realistic about it. So I could do 10,000, 12,000 steps a day if I'm in a fat loss phase, but honestly, it's not something that I can do consistently with my lifestyle. What I can do, and I found that sweet spot for me, is around 9,000 steps per day. And I changed my lifestyle to be able to do that with hardly any thought at all. So these are the changes that I've made. I park at the furthest possible place when I do the nursery drop off and pick up. I go to the shops to pick up whatever I need rather than getting it delivered. I take the dog out for 10 to 15 minute walk, like 3 times a day rather than just one walk in the morning. I go outside and spend half an hour with my son when I pick him up. So we're active, that's just part of our routine. Now, all of these things add up and they're just habits now. It means that I don't have to think about burning calories with cardio. I'm just getting those 9,000 steps and it feels easy. Oh, and one that's really key for busy mums like me, I cannot believe, but 20 minutes of just picking up and tidying around my house, like in a very purposeful way, is about 2,000 steps. And it means that I get a nicer environment, I can sit down, enjoy my evening without looking at all the mess everywhere and all the laundry. So that's just been an overall positive change in my life generally. And it gives me that little bit of extra motivation to tidy up at the end of the day. And the final one, the 8th habit, is choose action over perfection. So many people, and I was this person as well, I wanted the perfect plan. I wanted to know all of the things that need to be fixed and then fix it all at once. But in reality, this just meant that I never got started. So what I want you to do is just start with one of the habits that I've shared today. Honestly, just pick one. Let me know in the comments which one is most realistic for you to start, and start right now, rather than trying to plan a whole week's worth of perfect meals and get all the groceries in before you start, or eat through all the unhealthy snacks in your fridge before you do 80-20. Honestly, just stop it. I've done that and you won't ever start. And then next week, you can add another one, and the next week you can add another one. You can build up as each habit starts to feel normal and easy for you. Honestly, of all the tips that I've shared today, this is going to be the most important because it's the one that will help you actually leave this video and start seeing some results. And then once you've tried it, report back so that we can cheer you on and we can keep that momentum going. And if you want to go deeper into the behavioral change side of things and how you can use science to help change your habits and lose fat, if you're like, yep, I like the sound of that and all of this made sense today, then make sure you're subscribed, because that's exactly what I talk about here every week.